thanks for joining us for another round of Mums at the Table. It's your girl Fiona here to talk this, that and the other with some fabulous mothers, otherwise known as Shona the Showstopper. Good to see you. Julie H is in the studio. Nice to see you. And Rachel H. Rachel with a H, always a pleasure working with you, lovely lady.
You too.
Good to see you, ladies.
You too.
Feeling good?
Yep.
Always.
Good, good. Because coming up, we ask ourselves, can mums really get me time? And have you considered the quality of that time to yourself? Thinking of making the big switch from eating meat to becoming a vegetarian? Well, take note as we sit down with our resident nutritionist, Trish Guy, who will give us tips to make sure it's a healthy transition. We'll also get some practical tips on preparing quick meals for the family, and Gia and Olive make a Mexicana salsa. So keep it locked for that and so much more. But first, an article in the Sydney Morning Herald found that a mother's mental health sharply declines and remains low with a second child. The research conducted by Household Income and Labour Dynamics in Australia stated that having a second or third child increases pressure and deteriorates the parent's mental health.
Really?
Well,
Did they have to do a study on that?
well, look, I'm on baby number 4,
Yes,
so
you're well gone.
shoot me now. I've gone to the asylum. Do you agree with the research, Miss Shona?
Oh, yes, come on. The
You do
pressure, yeah. We've just, all of ours have moved out now. The last one's finally gone.
Right.
And the...
Because you've got 2 children.
Two were still living at home, yep.
Right.
So the mental pressure, the financial pressure, the physical pressure, everything's gone. It's just the 2 of us. It's
Just
wonderful.
Do you think over the years it progressively got worse, your mental health?
Oh, yeah. I was not like this.
You have said that. I know in previous discussions that we've had, you've talked about, you know, that fact that when they're young, it's easy, but when they get older,
yes.
do you believe
it changes from being very physical and hands-on to being very mental. You've really got to try, and especially boys, get inside their heads and yeah.
I found it different. I found it really. My mental alertness went down after the first one. I didn't take the second one. It was the first one. We'd been married 7 or 8 years, and I think we got
children do you have?
2 girls.
2 girls.
And I think we got really comfortable in just doing what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. And then suddenly this, baby comes along and it changed everything. And that was really hard to make that adjustment for me.
Yeah, with every child, you're getting less and less me time. It's becoming busier. But I did find that with my second child, it was almost healing because our first was just so hard. That's when I hit mentally the worst. And I found subsequent children, my 2 others, I sort of healed a bit more mentally, yeah.
I'm hearing that, do you think the more, because people say the more children you have, the easier it gets.
No, I stopped at 2 so I don't know.
I had probably just stopped knowing where they are.
What was the challenge from going, was it harder to go from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3?
0 to 1 was my hardest, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just becoming a mother.
It depends
Just
on the
becoming a mother.
child.
Yeah.
It depends on the child.
Yeah, I just was not ready. It was too difficult. And as I said, my second 2 babies were so much easier to handle. Mentally, I healed and it was wonderful. But the busyness, the whole marriage, not having time for each other sort of thing is mentally challenging.
Yeah, and you do have to try and find space for your husband.
Yep.
But like our first one, Joshua was quite ill, and so when Aaron came along 17 months later, he wasn't, and he was, as our eldest would say, Angel Aaron. He was a good child. If we'd had Aaron first, things would have been quite different, I think.
So depending on the child, not necessarily how many
That's
children.
how it was for me.
I agree because some people like Octomom, they have 8 and they're just happy
Well, you
with so
with
many
your
kids.
4, I look at
you
you
love
with
it.
4 and I go, I could not do that.
Like I said, I'm on my way to the mental asylum.
How many tablets are you taking?
Exactly, right? But look, ladies, thanks for the insights. Whether you are blessed with none or 1, children are an inheritance from the Lord. And despite the research, as a proud mum of 4 under 4, I'll take crazy lady over cat lady any day. Speaking of being a crazy lady, I know for most mums, the term me time is like speaking a foreign language. And if it does come around, you're probably struggling to stay awake. There's the perspective that me time can be sorted in 20 minutes, some light reading, tub time, go for a walk, or as one Kirsty Smith wrote in scarymummy.com, me time is hogwash, and there is no such thing once you are a mum. Ladies.
You know what? Even if you're not there physically, you're still there mentally, don't you reckon?
What, with the me time?
Yeah.
So
No, if you try and go away and have some time on your own, you're still thinking about it.
Thinking about them, yeah.
Or talking about
Are you?
them.
Well, maybe not you, Shona.
Maybe not you, Shona.
But yeah, that's what I found really hard. I just couldn't switch my brain off, even if I was physically away.
When you
Didn't happen.
when you became a mum.
Once I became a mum.
Because I know you were just saying with your husband, you know, you were doing all your what you do. So was it challenging for you to get some me time when you had children?
I don't think there was such a thing as me time, especially in our generation, Shane. It wasn't even a term that we used. There was no such thing as me time. You just got in and you did what you had to do.
If you said me time when my boys were little, people would have looked at you and said, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
You stay
You're a
home all
mother.
day.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Would you have been seen as someone who was taking liberties? Like, do you think?
selfish.
Whereas today, it's like, are you getting enough me time? Because
Yeah.
we're all going sort of mentally nuts at times.
But do you think the expectation is higher? Mums are expecting that they should have me time more now than they used to before.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I think there are a lot more women who are full-time working and being mums, and I think they need that break. And I think it's essential. So me time is really important. But
And
do you
me
get
time
it?
is not having a bath with the children running around outside you.
But if you can get it, like according to research that was done by tvbed.com, 2,000 women were surveyed, and women on average 17 minutes a day get. That's
See,
their me
17
time.
minutes,
17
is that
minutes
high?
a day. What would you do in that 17 minutes, Rachel? How's your me time?
That wouldn't be me time.
No.
I need a lot more, and I think it's very circumstantial. I think some people need more me time than others. I know a mum who is just go, 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 like 18 hours a day. She doesn't get much sleep, and she's really happy, and that's how she does it. But I could not survive on that. I need a huge amount of me time just to recover, to do the next day. So I think we're all different.
Yeah, because you've got to find mental space. If you're not looking after yourself, then you can't look after your husband and your children.
For me, it was getting the children to bed as early as I possibly could. You know, some people have their kids running around and have me time during the day, but I had to have my kids in bed really early.
I was the same. Mine would go to bed at 5 o'clock at night, and Gary would come home at about 7, so that gave me 2 hours. But in that 2 hours, I was doing the washing and all the other. So it wasn't actually me time, but it was time when I didn't have the kids around my feet.
So Fiona, how do you get me time? And I mean, do you need much of it?
Me time for me?
Yeah.
No, to be honest, I actually was brought up with them. I do look at my mum like, you know, the mum to be. And she was traditional, and she was all about us children, us families. So I feel like I've adopted a lot of those values where I do feel guilty if I'm taking me time. And for, I don't know, 4 years, this is my oldest, I don't think I've ever gone away from them. In fact, I think I've got attachment issues, and I enjoy, but don't get me wrong, I actually enjoy being with my kids, and I find that they're going to be young for only a small amount of time. So I'm going to lap it up. While they want to hang out with mummy, hang out with mummy. While you want to sleep with mummy, sleep with mummy, because I know by the time they get to school, they won't want to borrow me.
You're not holding a grudge. You're not going, I want me time, I want time away. You're enjoying what God's given you with your children.
Well, that's exactly it. But I also think I'm not trying to take for granted this time as well. And I've done me. Like, my husband and I were together 12 years. So, like, I've done me, you know? We've done everything that we...
Let's also remember me time. I think it's biblical because Jesus often went away to spend time with his Father before he came back to the group and to the, you know, do you know what I mean?
But don't get me wrong, I think it's important to rest. And God also gave us the Sabbath. And as someone who goes to church on Saturday, that's my me time. And I find going and reconnecting on a spiritual level with God and with my fellow...
Feeds you for the rest of the week.
People, that gets me going. Whereas some people
that wouldn't be enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm very differently wired.
But also, you know, the downtime with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, some Married at First Sight. Nothing wrong with that when the kids are, you know, gone to sleep. So how do you spend your
you do get some me time.
Well, you know, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Switch it on when
And
the kids are
Gary's
not watching.
often said to me, I don't know how you can sit there and watch mindless TV when the kids were little. And I said, I'm actually not watching it. I'm just sitting in front of it, just
numbing out.
Because I have no more room in my brain.
And
I didn't get that earlier. I didn't get that before I had kids as well. I'm like, how can people sit there and just like watch that? But now I'm like, I get you.
Yeah. You fall asleep. Interesting. Well, look, that was very insightful, ladies. But now to spice things up, it's time to see what's cooking with Gia and Olive, who are making a Mexicano salsa.
What are we making?
We are making avocado.
We are making a Mexican salsa with some avocado on the side because I really find getting the kids involved in the kitchen is the best way to get them to try different foods, okay? My son is the first one to say yuck before he even tries it. So the rule is that you have to try it before you say yuck, okay? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to try it first. But while I'm making the Mexican salsa, I'm going to get the kids to mush the avocado. So can you start mushing it until it's all very, very, very soft? And I'll make the salsa while you guys do that. And then we've got our lunch ready, hey? Now, I've got my little handheld, it's my little food processor. And to make the salsa, it's really, really easy. And I love being able to do this. It's just tomatoes, onions and garlic. I've got garlic here. So I just throw my garlic in, my onions, and I throw in some coriander. I love coriander, so I would throw more coriander in if I didn't have the kids, but the kids don't like too much of it. I've got some lime, fresh lime juice. So limes are on special at the moment, so I'm loving it. And a little bit of salt, but we'll leave some salt out for our mushy avocado. Okay, do you want to help me? Okay, there we go. 1, 2. So we just go and you go. You want to have a turn? Pull it. You need to be strong. Go. Whoa, that's strong. And Litta, do you want to have a turn? Whoa! You nearly fell. Keep going. You go. Whoa, pull. That's a good one. Okay. So I do this because I hate chopping things. I get myself a salsa. Some people like chopping everything by hand. I'm a mum and I don't have time. Do you want some chips and dip yours? Me, I like both. So I'm going to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Delicious. The salsa, I use it for burritos as well. So if you've got like a bean burrito, I throw the salsa on top as well. And there we have it. If you want some more recipes, please go to our website at mumsatthetable.com, and we've got a recipe page there too, so you can go in there and look at all the recipes we've got. We'll see you next time. Enjoy our Mexican salsa.
Now, for more easy-to-make recipes, we're giving away copies of this Sanitarium cookbook, Nature's Superfoods. All you have to do is write into us with your name, postal ID, and the title of this recipe book, Nature's Superfoods, and we will send it out to you for free. But in keeping with the theme of easy-to-make recipes, an online article featured on the National Public Radio website titled What's for Dinner gave 10 strategies to help busy parents get food on the table, with tips like try it cold, slow-cooked meals, cook once, eat all week, and so forth. Ladies, what's for dinner?
Cook once, eat it all week.
That
Yeah,
would
well,
go
I guess
down.
they mean meal prep.
Right.
Yeah.
Prep,
I
you
do
know,
a kind
couple
of a
hours
meal
a day.
prep.
Yeah, you do it.
I don't do it for dinner, but I do it for lunch. So I don't work Mondays. So on Mondays, I'll cook up a big batch of roasted veggies. I'll cook up a whole lot of quinoa. I'll cook up a whole lot of, lots of different salad items. And then they're in the fridge in containers, and then people just go and get and put their salad together.
Wow. Have you always done this?
No.
All right.
When I had little kids, no.
But does it help you manage your time
it's
better?
so much easier because instead of doing lots of little things, it's all done in a few minutes.
But what say you don't want what's in the container?
Oh, you don't have to. You don't. You pick out of everything that's there, you just pick what you want and everyone gets what they want.
Then do you end
know
up
what
throwing
people
much
want?
out at the end?
Not really.
Okay,
I
that's
usually
good.
run out and think
Yeah.
I should have done more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you got a book there.
Yeah, I've been looking at this book. It's called 5 Minute Salad, and it's been really good because it's along the lines of what I've been doing. But it gave me some ideas about different items that I'd forgotten to put in, because sometimes you just get in a bit of a rut and you keep doing the same things all the time. So it gave me some ideas about different ingredients I could be using. So yeah, that's what I do.
And that's for lunch.
This is for lunch. You could do it for dinner, I guess, but for salads, it's great.
Who else here do you meal prep? You're pretty good around the kitchen.
No, I don't meal prep.
No?
I open the door and go, what are we having for dinner tonight?
Right.
But yeah, I can do 30-minute meals. So yeah, it doesn't, I've never
You don't need
really-
prep time.
No, I prep and
Yeah.
like I can have a meal in 30 minutes for a family.
Rach, your husband's away and you've
Yep.
come up with this great tip.
Oh, well, I don't know
wanna
if it's a
share?
great tip.
No,
I've
I mean for
gotten it
lunch
from
for the
other
girls. Yeah.
mums. So this year I've got 3 at school. So lunchtimes in the morning is much busier than it used to be. So I'm starting to get my older daughter to sort of make parts of her own. But I've just made a whole heap of sandwiches. And when I say a whole heap, I mean 30, 40. Shove them in the freezer.
Yes.
And then I just pull them out on the morning and they're defrosted by lunchtime. And the kids are fine
Yeah.
with them. Like they have no problem with them. And it's saving my mornings and my sanity.
And then do you have a drawer where you just have all the other things like the boxes of sultanas and bits and pieces that they put in their lunchbox?
Yes and no. I
that
cut
they
up a
can
lot of
choose?
fresh stuff, apples, plums, grapes,
Yeah.
carrots, all that sort of stuff. So I do a lot for their snacks, for
Yeah.
their,
How do you keep the apples fresh if you're cutting them up? Or do you just give them whole?
My kids will go through apples real quick. That's not a problem for us. I'm buying them several times a week.
I used to cut them and put a little bit of lemon juice, like not a lot, but a little
Oh, you
bit
mean
of lemon
going
juice,
brown?
and then Glad wrap them.
Oh, I just put them together. Like you cut the apple up and you sort of put it all together. And sometimes if you want to, you could put like a rubber band or a hairband around it, keeps it all together and then it doesn't go brown.
I find lunches are okay. Dinners are the ones that I find really hard. But I heard a great idea once. Someone said, find a friend, make a dinner, multiply by 3, swap one with your friend, and you've got one night, your leftovers, and then dinner's your friend's dinner the other night.
It's interesting, isn't it?
What's the go-to meal for you if your kids are hungry and you don't have time to cook a whole meal from scratch? So what is the go-to meal?
Girlfriend, butter chicken and broccoli.
That takes time.
No, I can have that on the I can have that literally everything cooked before the rice cooker goes off.
Master Chef Shona, put me to shame.
I know,
I'm all
it's
about
cereal over here. Cereal. The kids, I know, it's amazing. I always feel guilty if it's a late night and I'm like, oh, girls, do you want cereal? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no,
Oh no,
why are
my
you
kids
enthusiastic?
eat cereal for dinner.
Oh, we don't do it often, but I have done it on the nights we get back late.
They survive.
Yeah, cheese toasties, porridge.
Yeah, they survive. They're fine.
Great recipes.
No wonder. I don't think I'm ever going to find a wife for my boys there.
Love your work, Shona. We live in a fast-paced world, fast life, fast food, and for some, a fast Uber Eats does the trick also. But we'd love to know what practical tips have worked for you when it comes to quick, healthy, and more importantly, tasty meals. Just drop us a line on social media. But now, it's time to get our fitness in check and find out how to exercise more effective. Let's check this out.
Today we are focusing on how to make your workout more effective, especially because moms don't have much time, right, Alisha?
Yes, that's true, and that's something I have been learning becoming a mum. You don't have much time to fit workouts in, so I'm going to share 2 ways that we can make your workouts more effective. And really what it comes down to is timing your workouts. So actually putting a clock on and timing them. Because what happens is, you know how people go, oh, I need an hour to go work out at the gym? Well, that's because in between each set, they're on Facebook for 2 minutes. So if you take out the 2 minutes on Facebook, you can actually reduce that workout down to probably like 20 minutes, right? So we're going to effectively do that, but at home. So the first way that we can do that is that we want to do a workout in a circuit, but with no rest. So say we have 3 exercises. So we're going to do here, we'll do some squats, we'll do some star jumps, and we'll do some out and ins here, just step out. So we'll just make it easy, right?
That's great.
And what we're going to do is we're not going to rest until we've finished all of them and then rest and then do them again instead of resting in between each, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's do it. Let's do 10 squats. Here we go. So 1, 2, and so we're going to feel it a bit more because we're not stopping, okay? 4 and 5, that's it. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, straight into our star jump. So out and in, 2, that's it. I'm gonna make you do it. 3, 4, good, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, straight into push it out, step it out. Out, out, that's it. Push, that's it. 5 and 6.
Does the speed
7.
when I'm doing it?
The speed can vary, 9 and 10. Okay, now rest. Now is your heart rate up?
It is.
Yeah, okay. So by putting them all together, now you can do them faster or slower. The faster you do them, the quicker it's done, yeah? But don't compromise on your form when you do that. So if doing them fast means you just go like this, like that's not a squat. Like you still need to squat instead of just...
complete
Yeah,
movements, yeah.
exactly. Get that full range of motion. So put them all together, no rest in between, and then rest. You're actually saving time and making your workout more effective because you're working harder to do it, right? Yeah, so
That's for the cars as well.
yeah, exactly. Now, the second way we do that, I'm going to put my timer on for this, is what we call an EMOM, which stands for every minute on the minute. So you get your timer. If you can set it for, say you've got 10 minutes, you set it so that it dings every minute, right? And you can get apps that do this. It's really easy. And we're going to say do 15 squats and see how long it takes within a minute, and whatever's left is going to be our rest. So here we go. All right, so we'll time it. We've got our little timer on, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go, 15 squats. Let's count them out. 1, 2, that's it. Beautiful form there, Mariana. Nice. And 5, 6, 7. You're going to have heaps of time left. 8, 9, 10. 5 more, that's it. Keep going. 12, 13, good, right down, 14, 15, okay, rest. We've still got 40 seconds left, right? So we could probably put more in there,
Okay.
but Then what you do is whatever it takes to do that set, you wait until that minute is up. It's going to beep again. Then you start again.
All right.
So it means that your rest never can go longer than what's left in each minute, and you're not wasting time. Oh, I'm going to jump
Do you
on
recommend
Facebook.
anything we can do during this rest?
Yeah, you can just like jog on the spot if you want to
Okay.
keep moving, totally. And then you just go into whatever that workout is again. So you still got 12 seconds left, right? So exactly. So anyway, that just shows you two ways. You either put all your exercises together and then don't rest until you've done them all, or you put your timer on for having 1 minute intervals. However long it takes to do your set of exercises, then what's left in that minute is your rest. You start again, you're done in 10 minutes.
And I really felt it, like I had my workout today.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Alisha.
You're welcome.
Between 2012 and 2016, the number of Australian adults whose diet is all or almost vegetarian has risen from 1.7 million people to almost 2.1 million. And it seems they're onto something. Roy Morgan research found that while 60% of Australian adults have a body mass index that qualifies as overweight or obese, this figure drops to 45% for those whose diet is mostly or totally vegetarian, which is why joining us now to give us healthy tips on how to convert to vegetarianism, please welcome our resident nutritionist, Trish Guy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Now, I know this vegetarian craze, it seems like everyone's picking it up, whether it's for animal reasons, environment reasons, or Beyonce said so. But what should people consider when making the transition to vegetarianism?
Well, firstly, making the transition to becoming a vegetarian is a really positive choice, not only for your health of your body, but also the health of the environment. But there are a couple of things to consider, and if you're wanting to make it a long-term sustainable choice, it's important to remember that switching to vegetarianism doesn't just mean leaving meat off the plate or leaving it out of your dishes. You really do need to focus on replacing that meat with some really nutritious and sustaining food options.
Do you need to see a dietitian before you make the switch, or see a doctor if you need to make a switch?
You might want to get some practical ideas, and I guess as you're going further along the spectrum, if you're, say, for example, going to try a vegan diet where all animal products are excluded, a lot more planning is needed there, particularly for children and maybe pregnant women or women who might be breastfeeding. You might want to consider getting your iron levels checked or your B12 levels monitored if you do go more down the vegan spectrum.
Why do you need to get your iron levels checked if you're going that spectrum? Can't you get the same amount of foods from eating meat, or do you need to take supplements or minerals, or what's the story?
Certainly, so many studies have shown that a well-planned vegetarian diet, even vegan diets, can provide all the nutrients our body needs. So the key nutrients that may be in shorter supply on a vegetarian diet are iron and zinc and B12 if you are avoiding all animal products. But appropriately planned and replacing the meat with ingredients or foods like whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, vitamin B12 fortified soy milks if you're not having dairy milk, will ensure that you get all of the nutrients that you do need.
Oh, that sounds really hard to me, Trish.
It sounds overwhelming.
It does.
Where would someone start?
Well, it depends where you're at. You might want to just go all in and stop eating meat altogether. But what I actually did when I started becoming or transitioning away from meat is I did it slowly.
Well, hold on. You were a meat eater?
I grew up eating meat.
So
you're one of us.
You're us.
Once upon a time, now you're siding
with us.
There were two things. I actually woke up and felt really sick one morning after having a big meat meal, and then I was at uni at the time and I was starting to obviously learn. I mean, I'm so lucky to have been to uni and learned so much about nutrition. I just started to learn how healthy eating more plant-based foods were and some of the downsides of having lots of meat. And, I really think about it as eating more plant foods, you're filling your plate up on those really health-promoting foods, foods that are going to nourish my body for a long time. There's just not much room for meat anymore.
So when you were transitioning, what was the hardest thing for you?
Learning how to use some of these new ingredients and also my family accepting it. I was still living at home at the time, so my dad would never eat a lentil, but I started replacing some of the mince in my mum's rissoles with lentils and more vegetables, and he never knew. So,
Okay, I'm now the boys have left home and there's just Gary and I at home. We're thinking about the transition, right, to going to vegetarian, eating vegetables.
You too, Shona.
Oh, I know.
I'm scared to be by myself here. Oh, the traitors.
My winter I don't have a problem with because, you know, we eat curries and, you know, bolognese and all those sorts of things. It's the summer. I sit down to a salad and I go, where's the hunk of meat?
I know. I'm the same. You need some variety by the end of summer. But I think of salads now as the main meal, and it's not just lettuce and tomato and cucumber. You really do have to think differently about a salad. So, you know, sometimes salads are based on, you know, lentils. So, you know, black lentils, pie lentils, they are beautiful as the basis of a salad. They hold their shape, they have a lovely meaty texture, and you can add lots of other crunchy vegetables. And, you know, I love the olive oil dressings as well. So they become the star of the meal and make that salad really sustaining.
But do they fill you up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's where I've spoken to people.
What, a whole
I just
can
don't
or
feel
a whole packet of it? What's like, how much do you need? You know?
do I need?
You know, you're adding lots of other vegetables as well, and having some whole grain bread with the salad. It's just, you know, it's delightful.
I know you mentioned bread, and that's the thing. Some vegetarians are vegetarian, but they carb it up and they have heaps of carbs, they replace it with pastry, and you can become an unhealthy vegetarian.
You can,
So
absolutely.
what are other things that you can eat to, you know, substitute meat?
Well, things like tofu. I mean, people go, oh, tofu.
Yeah, I'm like,
So
hitting the
there's
spot
so
right now.
much more variety, and they're so much better tasting these days. They come already flavoured that, you know, it's quickly thrown into a stir fry to crisp them up. They, you know, they really take on the flavours and bring their own flavour as well. So tofu is a staple in our
I have to
home.
say I've recently married my stepchildren are meat eaters, never eaten vegetarian food, so that's been a challenge for me. But I have tried to sneak some of those tofus and, you know, a bit of both. And sometimes we don't even tell them.
That's right.
And we've got a few through.
I do think it's a mental thing, because I know growing up, a lot of people, when you talk about vegetarianism, they think you just eat rabbit food, right? But there's so much on the market now that you can get, because my girls are vegetarian, and they eat a lot of, there's a product called burdock, but there's a lot of soy products out there. What do you think about those soy products?
They are really great if you are transitioning and you want something that looks and is familiar in terms of preparing and serving. So, you know, vegetarian sausages and
because I know sanitarian.
If you're going to a barbecue.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But, you know, it is good to include more chickpeas and lentils and nuts and seeds, cooking more from scratch. And that's the same whether you eat meat or you don't eat meat. We want to get people to cook more from scratch. So, yeah, definitely the soy sausages and burgers are great when you are transitioning and do make really quick and easy meals, or great for barbecues.
If you're starting
add
out,
the others as
where
well.
can you get some great vegetarian products?
Oh, there are so many
recipes.
recipes. I always say when you go to next time you're at a restaurant, try the vegetarian option just to get you used to or familiar with some different foods. But Sanitarium has hundreds of recipes on their website, all vegetarian, that, you know, whether you're looking for something quick and easy for your family or something a bit more.
Thanks so much, Trish. That was really great information there, and I hope that's helped you as well. Ladies, thank you for the chat, and thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, share and subscribe if you're watching us online. Link up with us on our social media pages, because there's always room for more mums at the table. Until next time, God bless.